Hey guys, Phonic Phantom. Wanted to go over a couple of thoughts, comments, and build ideas for Harvest League and getting a good reset off. I have 10 tips that I had as recommendations for anybody who's looking to do a reset for Harvest League. I also have a couple different builds that I was going to go over and some interesting builds that I was going to think about for potential second builds throughout the league. So first thing that I'm going to go over and just hop right into it is I think that a couple of things that are going to be really important for Harvest League are things like loaded damage output, having the ability to have a large amount of damage dropped on the ground for when you're going to do your seeds, so that as soon as your seeds pop, you're able to just burst everything that spawns from that and farm them quickly and efficiently. So having large amounts of loaded damage with things like traps or mines, as soon as the seeds pop, you're going to kill everything that's going to spawn from that, and you can farm that pretty well. High-end damage output for bosses is going to be really important because a lot of the seeds I feel like are going to be really tanky, especially the seeds that are going to be the bosses from the seeds in Harvest. It's going to be really important to be able to just nuke them down as quickly as possible, since we don't have a whole lot of knowledge about how the mechanics for seeds are going to function yet, or the mechanics for the bosses in the fights for Harvest are going to function. Having really easy to obtain gear seems like it's going to be really valuable, as pretty much any league reset is going to want builds that have easily obtainable gear. It'll be really nice to have things that you can target farm for gear quickly. For example, trappers can farm gear pretty quickly in Temple. You just farm Act 9 Quarry until you get Trap Workshops, and you can farm all the gear that you need for a Trapper and Trap Workshops. Being able to quickly get to maps, it's going to let you get maps before other people, so you can sell maps, you can get high big ticket items that are going to be really important to be selling and getting a lot of currency in the first couple of days if you are on Trade League. If you're not on Trade League, then speed to maps isn't going to be as important, but it will still feel really satisfying because you're not going to be sitting there farming out Act 1 through 10 over the course of 10 hours. Having a really tanky build seems like it's going to be pretty important, especially in a league where we don't know how the boss fights are going to function yet. Being able to take a hit or two and not just get one shot by the bosses is going to be really nice. So having something that's pretty tanky seems like the way to go for a league starter. Plus, you'll be able to do high-end damage if you have a good single target boss killer that's got a nice bit of tanky stats behind it and damage mitigation. Having low link requirements are going to be really big. Blood Aqueducts feels really bad now that it takes 2 to 6 hours to farm your Tabula, so personally I won't be farming a Tabula. I'm just going to be trying to play a build that's going to function on a 4 or 5 link pretty well across maps. I would like to be able to play a build that can get 2 red maps on a 4 or 5 link. Map clear speed and boss speed, understanding if your build is designed to kill bosses or to kill maps quickly, or trying to find a build that is able to do both of these quickly together. So for example, I think that I will be doing explosive traps for my reset because I don't think that lightning trap is going to be dealing enough boss damage to clear as fast as I would like it to be, and I think a lot of the changes to the tree really help explosive traps clear faster, as well as easier at lower levels, and I think it's better on a 4 or 5 link than lightning traps going to be. Don't overdo it. Don't go hard, be chill. First couple of days are going to be really fun and really exciting, but if you burn out in the first couple of days, then you're going to be spending a week of not playing PoE. So I don't recommend going super hard. I will be going really hard, but I know that I'm not going to burn out after going super hard in the first couple of days. I may slow down for a couple of days and play a little bit less, but I'll still be playing. I think it'll still be really important to be going really hard early if you're looking to get tons of currency and to set yourself up really well. But if you're going to overdo it, don't burn out. Don't make the game less fun for you. Don't feel like you have to play 20 plus hours in a day to be effective. Play for fun. If you are worried about stuff like burning out, play solo self-found. Play hardcore. Play something that you're not going to burn out on. Solo self-found looks like it'll be a lot of fun this league. Highly recommend not going way too hard. Understanding what your build is and understanding that it's not going to be your primary build throughout the league. This is going to be the build that's going to get you into maps, it's going to get you to red maps, it's going to get you to the currency that you need to make your second and third builds. Don't go crazy gearing and spending a lot of currency gearing your character. Just try to get a character that can, in a solo self-found format, get you 2 yellow or red maps and get you a lot of currency to be able to fund the build that you actually want to play for the league. For example, I don't know anything about Sunder builds, I don't know anything about Slam builds, I haven't played a whole lot of Melee personally, so I won't be starting Melee, but I'll be looking at Melee for second and third builds. Not having any crazy specific requirements for your build is also going to be really big. If you're like, I need Soul Mantle and dual Cold Iron points and X, Y, and Z items, you're not going to have those in the first couple of days, so if your build requires them to function properly, you're gonna struggle a lot, and you're gonna be slowing yourself down. Find a build that doesn't require any specific items, find things that you can craft, find things that you can target farm, find things that are easily obtainable for a build to function properly. Understand that the game is RNG based in a lot of ways, so you don't need to be target farming something, but if you can be target farming something for a more effective tactic of obtaining the gear that you want to get 2 yellow or red maps, then do that. Try your best to manipulate RNG so that you understand how to farm well, but you don't have to be target farming to find the gear that you need, especially on some builds like Spellslinger builds. Couple of the ideas that I'm having right now for League Start is I think Traps and Mines are going to be really good because they have upfront damage. They can overload a lot of damage right away, so they're good at killing bosses, they're decent at clearing maps. Things like Lightning Trap, Ice Trap, Bear Trap all got buffed this league, so as someone who really likes traps, that'll be what I'm pushing into. I probably will be going Explosive Trap over Ice Trap or Lightning Trap, but the buffs to Bear Trap are really, really important. The effectiveness of damage added is going to be really, really big because that's going to increase the snare time on the trap as well as the debuff time on the trap, so having the increased damage to Bear Trap is going to just thoroughly increase your single target damage. I think that Sunder or Slams in general with General Warcry look really, really, really strong. I think that the AoE from them is going to be really cool. I personally have tweaked around with a build that's going to be going Herald of Ash Sunder, and I think that Herald of Ash, Avatar of Fire, with a couple of the new conversion nodes on the tree looks like it could be really good, and it already puts you right next to all the Warcry nodes on the tree, so I think that that could be really strong. Ball Lightning got kind of a buff. It got a nerf in terms of having slower projectiles nerfed, but if you can get like 100% increased area of effect versus the old build, you'll still be hitting 13 ticks per second. So Ball Lightning Miner looks really strong, looks really good. I personally don't like the mine playstyle. I like traps over mines, but Ball Lightning looks like it could be really strong. If you have somebody to play with, I'm always a really big advocate for Orobots. I think that Orobots can be really strong, and I think Orobots can make you more currency than pretty much any other build in the game, because everybody always wants an Orobot, and if you like high damage numbers, Orobots give more damage numbers to anything than any other build. For my kind of fun, interesting build, I think that Purifying Flame Wave of Conviction Spellslinger or Purifying Flame Totems looks really good on a Chieftain now. It's going to be really strong to get you 2 maps, and it's going to be really good at just clearing content quickly. Spellslinger in itself is really strong, especially when you're looking at it from the aspect of having things gaining increased damage effectiveness. So Purifying Flame and Wave of Conviction both getting percentage damage effectiveness buffs this league. Looks like Spellslinger could be really strong from them just because Spellslinger is going to be giving them a lot of flat damage. You can get around 300 total flat damage added to spell with Spellslinger and a really good wand. So I think that Purifying Flame Wave of Conviction could be really, really good. Couple honorable mentions. Fireball totems. Fireball looks really good. You could go like Perforate Fireball. You could do this with Spellslinger as well. I like totems more than I like Spellslinger. I feel like it's more enjoyable for me and towards the playstyle that I like. So Fireball totems, maybe. If you've been around my channel a whole lot, or you've looked at any of my other videos, I am a really big advocate for Bladefall totems. I think that Bladefall totems are really, really strong. You can go Ancestral Bond and be proccing Blade Blast with traps as well, just as like extra 1 damage every 20 seconds or whatever for single target and for just extra clear speed. So Bladefall Totems, I don't think it'll be fantastic for a league start, but will probably be one of my second or third builds. Spire of Shards, Meatball, Deadeye. So if you're going for Magma Orb, I think that Spire of Shards could really enable that build, especially if you're doing like a Castle channeling Deadeye. So if you were to go Spire of Shards on League Start, it's really easy to target farm in Lunaris. So if you can get to Temple of Lunaris and farm it for a little bit, you could pretty easily get Spire of Shards, and I think it could be interesting. I think it could clear really quickly. I don't think that the bossing damage will be fantastic. A couple of my other really big thoughts is that Perforate got buffed. Perforate looks like it could be really good, so if you're going a melee build or one of the slam builds and you don't know what to do to level, Perforate looks really good. To go over a couple of my POBs, which I have a bunch of. I'll be linking this down in the description below. So if you're interested in these, then you are more than welcome to go look at this. I have a couple of different builds in here that I'll be posting with this. It doesn't have any skills, it doesn't have any items in it. It's just going to be generic trees. So if you're looking at finding a generic tree, then feel free to go through this. I don't have any of the skills set up yet for it. Over the next couple of days, I'll probably be setting this up a little bit better, but this is generic what I think leveling trees will be good for a couple of the builds that I've already mentioned. For example, Purifying Flame, Wave of Conviction, Chieftain. So if you're going Chieftain, you get really big advantages with Nagamus and going Fire Conversion, plus having Magmatic Strikes on the tree now seems really strong. Seems really strong. Just going into Magmatic Strikes is going to give you 40% physical to fire conversion, and Wave of Conviction and Purifying Flame both already have conversion, so you'll be at 90% conversion to fire going Magmatic Strikes and Weapon Fire damage. As well as you can go 100% by taking Divine Fury, and you could totally skip taking Avatar of Fire, which means that you can go full fire conversions a little bit faster and not have to just bum rush as quickly as possible over to Avatar of Fire. It's a pretty tanky build with 191% increased life from tree. This one is the Spellslinger version. I don't know that this is going to be the best way to go with the tree, but I think that this is a pretty solid start. I would take that over that. So this is one thing that I've thought about going. This is probably not going to be my league starter, but it's probably something that I'll be testing and something that I really advocate for going. I have tested this build before. I've tested this for the last 2 months. I've been testing, not really 2 months, the last like month and a half. I've been testing specifically what I could do for league starts, so this is one of the ones that I've tested. This was already rivaling ED Contagion speeds of getting 2 maps and getting yellow maps. I don't think it will get walled quite as hard as ED Contagion Spellslinger, because rather than having ED Contagion that doesn't scale with Spellslinger, it's just a cute handshake. I think that this will scale better and could actually take you through red maps rather than having T11 maps be the wall that you just can no longer kill anything. This is my Sunder Warcry concept that I'm working with. This is probably a little bit less optimized than the than the Purifying Flame Wave of Conviction build, but still looks like it could be really strong. You're still going to want to take Avatar of Fire because it's going to be really hard to get full conversion. Divine Fury isn't going to convert the remainder of the damage from Sunder to fire damage, but you'll be at 90% conversion to fire with Nagamus plus weapon fire damage and magmatic strikes. Still pretty tanky, not as tanky as the Spellslinger build, but it's still pretty tanky. You get a bunch of jewel sockets, you're going to have endurance charges, you're going to have call to arms if you want it for generals. If you want to run multiple Warcries, you can, but this build is just focusing on running generals, so I was interested in running Call to Arms. Take it if you want it, don't take it if you don't want it. It's going to be scaling as much Warcry as you can on the tree for the most part, other than Escalation, which you could easily take. I don't know that taking Deep Breaths late game is going to be fantastic, but it still feels really good early game. I have Saboteur Lightning Trapper. I think Lightning Trap looks really good. Lightning Trap is probably one of the largest AoE skills in the game. The projectile spread roughly 1.5 to 2 screens, so just one set of traps could be killing stuff 2+ screens away from you. I think that the Saboteur version is pretty squishy. This one in particular pushes really, really hard to be getting as much life as possible. So you could go for higher damage, you could go for higher evasion, but I'm a really big advocate again for getting tanky and being as tanky as possible so that you can clear as quickly and effectively as possible and not worrying about getting one shot by bosses quite as much. If you've been around a whole lot, you understand that Scion's kind of my baby, and I really, really love Scions. So I have 3 different Scion Trapper variants. This is my Lightning Trapper Scion variant that's going to be running Mortal Conviction with Supreme Ego. They have a lot of synergy together because you don't care about the mana reservation, you don't care about having only one aura, because with Mortal Conviction you're already only going to have one aura. So I think that going Mortal Conviction plus Supreme Ego together could be really, really strong. And you're just going to get 50% increased buff effect from your aura. So I think that this could be really strong if you're running something like Anger on Explosive Trapper or Wrath on Lightning Trapper. So this is going to be taking as much life as it could possibly get from left-hand side of the tree down by Marauder. You're going to be getting a decent amount of elemental damage and lightning damage from top left side of the tree with Templar and Witch sides. And then you're going to be taking your Ascendancy to start over a Shadow. Your Shadow start's going to be getting you as much trapping stuff as you can. You don't have to take that. I took it just because I wanted to have nice rounded out increased life from tree numbers, but this is 202% increased life from tree on a Trapper who already is going to have decent damage output because you can front load all of your damage. You can front load like 22 to 24 traps at a time, so it's going to be really strong at just nuking down seeds. I think one of the things that I was really interested in and that I've tested a little bit is Deadeye Ascendancy with Lightning Trap feels really good because you don't have to take the Pierce from Tree or use Pierce Link, and it's going to give you Far Shot on the trap projectiles. So I think that going Deadeye could be really, really good on Lightning Trapper, which was the main concept of why I wanted to try Lightning Trapper with Scion. I have used this tree or a very similar tree to get my first hardcore level 88 character. It's still alive and kicking, I just haven't had the time or willpower to go level 88 when I ripped all of my maps to lag. Was really lame. So really think that this could be good. I think that explosive traps may be better than lightning traps early because they're better on lower investment values, but I think that going Scion Blood Magic Trapper could be really fun. You get a lot of life regen, you get a lot of life, you're really tanky, and you've got decent damage output. So another variant, this one's going to be Mind Over Matter version. This one's going to have less spread of points, which means you could potentially get more damage on it. So it's got a little bit more damage, it's got decent life from tree, it's got a lot of mana from tree, but it's pretty much the same concept. It may have a touch more damage and a little bit less tankiness, so this is one concept that I've been toying with as well. The big thing with this is you could try to run more auras, but going Mind Over Matter, you're going to be running like Clarity, Precision, maybe Wrath. You probably won't have the mana percentage for Wrath. You could try to get things like Sovereignty or Charismatic, but those are going to be pretty hard to stretch. All of these builds have been already set up for like roughly level 90s, so maybe you could take some aura reservation percentage, but I don't think that it'll be all that easy to obtain. This is my aura build. This is kind of just a generic aura bot build. You're going to get a lot of jewel sockets from just being a Scion in general. You get a lot of really cool aura reservation nodes. GGG said that they're going to be releasing some new stuff about cluster jewels with auras, which could be really good. Aura bots have been buffed several leagues in a row, so I think that aura bots, if you have people to play with, are going to be really super strong. So I'd recommend trying this if you have somebody to play with. If you don't have somebody to play with and you're still interested in playing this, it's pretty easy just to go take like Spiritual Aid. You can take a couple of the minion nodes that are already next to the tree, and it's not all that difficult. So you could level it as a summoner, you just come across your mana nodes, or you could take life regen nodes and then take all your minion nodes. And it wouldn't be awful, but I think that it will be better if you have a friend. Purifying Flame Totems. Again, I like totems a lot. I think Purifying Flame looks really good. I think it looks like it's in a really good spot. Purifying Flame got buffed, so having Purifying Flame totems with really good conversion values, because Purifying Flame totems you can fully convert without going Herald of Ash anymore. Plus, Chieftain feels really good with totems, and you get a lot of endurance charges, you got a lot of life leech, you're going to have a lot of damage. Seems like it's really good. It's still fairly tanky. You can front load some of your damage because you can drop all your totems and then proc your seeds, and all your Purifying Flame will go after it. So I think that this looks fun. It looks really strong. Everything that you want on the tree innately for Purifying Flame is pretty close to things like Shamanistic Fury, Shaman's Dominion, so I think that this could be one really good method for leveling quickly, getting through maps quickly, and potentially having really good power with investment. And then this is what I will be starting. Probably 99% sure that this is what I'm going to be starting. Starts in 8 hours. This video will probably go up in like 3, so around the time that this is going up is when I'll be deciding what I want to go for sure. I'll either be going the Mortal Conviction Blood Magic Supreme Ego Trapper for lightning traps, or I will be going this Explosive Trapper. I think that Explosive Trapper is going to be really strong because it's better on 0 investment than Lightning Trapper is, so this is kind of what I'm interested in at the moment. I think it's going to be really strong. It's going to clear really quickly. You get full damage conversion from Explosive Trap, so you don't have to worry about going physical to lightning on your tree or on your skill links, and is pretty tanky. 177% life is pretty tanky for a trapper. It's not 202% life, but it's still pretty tanky, and we're going conversion, so we had to sink a couple extra points into conversion versus the lightning trapper. This will deal a lot more damage than your lightning trapper build will, but will not be as tanky. This is going to go chieftain, so you're going to get life regen as well, and you're going to cover an ash, which is going to be another just nice buff to your damage output. So yeah, those are my current build thoughts, the current things that I've thought about going, and current things that I've helped people in my community build. If you guys are not already, I am on Twitch pretty much every day of the week. So I will be doing a pretty big push for the first couple of days on Twitch. If you're interested in coming by, seeing what I ended up starting, seeing how my starts end up going, seeing what everybody in my community is going. These are all trees that most of the people in my community will be using, so if you are using any of these and you're interested, I'll probably have been helping people or playing with people that are using these trees. May optimize them over the next couple of days, so feel free, come hang out. Twitch.tv Phonic Phantom. I hope that everybody has a fantastic reset. I hope everybody enjoys the reset. I hope everybody has fun and farm hard. And I'll catch y'all later. Deuces.